President Trump confirmed today that he killed clean water drinking project here in Colorado because of his ongoing dispute with our state's Democratic governor.
Trump was asked by Politico why he used his first veto of this term on a water project unanimously approved by Congress. And he said, quote, "bad governor." And then he said something else that caught the ear of Kyle Clark.
Yeah, it was interesting. President Trump told Politico that he vetoed this clean drinking water project in part because so many people are leaving Colorado under Democratic Governor Jared Polis. On social media, Trump actually cited his source. In all caps, he wrote, "Top outbound states in 2025, United Van Lines, exclamation mark." That's one of those unscientific surveys put out by companies so they can try and get their name mentioned here on the news. They often get picked up by news outlets that are thirsty for clickbait and for ideological confirmation. You've seen this stuff before, right? Such and such city, great place to live, according to this financial services company. This city's terrible, according to a chain of muffler shops. Crime is skyrocketing, says an online newspaper. Safest city in America, according to an alarm company. And sometimes those questionable claims get cited by politicians as evidence.
President Trump has real government statistics at his fingertips. So why is he justifying his veto of a clean drinking water project in Colorado by citing a moving company for the claim that people are moving out of Colorado in droves? Well, because that one moving company's unscientific study, unlike others, supports his claim. United says it moved about 3,600 more people out of Colorado than into Colorado last year, and that landed Colorado on United's list of top 5 states for outmigration, behind New Jersey, New York, California, and Mississippi. Allied Movers did their own similar study and did not find a large outbound trend from Colorado. Atlas Van Lines did a study and found it about 50-50. Same for U-Haul. North American Van Lines did a study and found more moves into Colorado than out last year. Out of 5 similar unscientific studies, 1 supported Trump's conclusion about an exodus from Colorado. So he cited it for his veto of a clean drinking water project.
The one moving company out of the 5 that recorded significantly more people moving out of Colorado than in asked those movers why they were leaving. 30% said family, 23% said for a job, 13% said retirement. And interestingly, only 5% said Colorado's cost of living. Now, there are official statistics on this, right? They come from the Census Bureau, but they tend to lag by a year or two. And what those numbers show is what we have extensively reported, which is that Colorado's population boom of 20, 30 years ago has been slowing for a decade now. According to the state demographer, we are currently growing and are projected to grow at a faster rate than the rest of the country, but not at the rate that we saw years ago.
No, and I just moved into town a few months ago, and people here are still talking about how it's tough to get housing and how there's the crowded roads. But you said, interestingly enough, some of the people who used to complain about the people coming into the state.
Oh, and there were a lot of them. They had bumper stickers.
And they still are. I still
They don't
hear
want
that.
people moving here.
As I just moved here. Some of those are complaining about people leaving the state, too. The same people.
It's the same people. And I think a lot of it is it's cultural, and some of it's rooted in people's politics and that kind of thing. It seems to be a lot of, are the people moving in sharing my values, and are they going to share my vision for the state? And then are the people leaving people that I see as sharing my values or not? So it's kind of interesting that some of the same, often conservatives that you heard complaining about people moving in are now the same people complaining about folks moving out. But it's all about who's coming and going, right?
And at the end of the day, none of that has anything to do with vetoing a clean water bill. So that's, I mean, it was nice that we dove into the statistics, but I mean,
yeah,
it's just.
I mean, a clean water pipeline for, we should mention, one of the most heavily Republican areas of the state. And to hear Trump come out and say today that while he cited the idea of taxpayer money being the reason in his official veto statement, when he was asked directly about it by Politico, he took a shot at the governor and said it's because people are leaving Colorado in droves, which again, we just can't find statistics to back up.
And doesn't reflect so on the highway. I can tell you that.
Not on I-25.
On I-25, or even at the airport, one of the busiest. Apparently, people just fly here and then leave.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the stats.
All right.
Okay.
Kyle, thanks.
Yep.